Welcome, friend, to session 4 of Artifact. This is a game for one player from Jack Harrison and Mousehole Press. It's my first playthrough. I've had it on my shelf for quite some time, and I'm very, very glad to be playing it now. This poor book has been through a lot, and it's only about halfway through its life. When last we left our book, it was written a place devoted to researching tea. And was created as a compendium of knowledge about magic potions, accidentally stumbled on by its author, Masked Lutherian. Subsequently stolen from that place by a roguish woman who went by many different names, but was best known as Clarissa, who added to the book's power by creating potion recipes of her own and using the book to help steal a family fortune. Unfortunately, in her escape, she lost the book, and it fell into the hands of the lord of the house, who gave it to his son, could not make heads or tails of it, the book being fickle and not liking the boy very much. The lord's son tore the book in half and threw it in the privy, where it was found later on by the privy diggers, who took it to a bookseller who restored it and sold it to the minion of a warlord named Clabum Door, who respected the book and used its power to protect his men in battle and was able to conquer a great empire and build his own land. But because of his obsession with the book, he was thrown and exiled and wandered the rest of his days with only a single shirt, a single shoe, and his magic book of potions, which he had dubbed the Lord of Knowledge. When last we met, the Lord of Knowledge being this tome of potions, it was in the hands of the now deceased Dark Paladin Clabum Door. And a good 10 years has passed. Clabum Door is maybe not looking quite so robust as he once did. And now we get to determine who stumbles upon our lovely tome. So we're in the time of glory. We've completed a rest, and we're ready to choose a new keeper. And, well, I'm just going to roll a d4, and if it comes up 2, I'm going to roll it again, because I'm not going to do another warlord, because that's not fun to me. 1. A righteous champion. In the woods, clutched close to the chest of the now rather pitiful remains of our friend Clabum Door. Just adjust this camera so maybe I'm on a little bit better, huh? haughty, passionate, and steadfast. Describe the keeper and your acquisition. Righteous champion. My immediate thought goes to paladin, but not of the dark variety, of the light variety. My immediate thought is that what we have here is your dyed-in-the-wool adventurer who's become separated from his party. And this is your quintessential D&D paladin. He is all about the will of his god or gods. Maybe he worships a Dayun god. Two-headed god, two-personaed god that is the embodiment of day and night. Just misspelled that in amusing ways. So, the god's name is Soluna. Let's just go very simple. So this is the paladin to Soluna, and in this order of paladins, they take the name Soluna as part of their own. And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use male pronouns for this guy. So I think what we're looking at is going to be Baratrum Soluna. He is devout, humorless, and driven to his cause, which is fighting the undead. So, when he stumbles upon what seems to be possibly an undead skeleton warrior clutching a magic tome in the woods, of course he is at his guard, and he approaches with caution, perhaps sticking his spear or javelin through the skeleton once or twice just to make sure it isn't going to move. At no point did Glabandor pledge dark pact to anything, so he's fine. He's just a body. But the book has been asleep for a very long time, and is none too happy with the various bugs that are wriggling through its pages. So despite the fact that the Lord of Knowledge is paranoid and understands humans to be mostly destructive and untrustworthy, he does see a way out of the woods at least. And so his magic has grown over the years. He is more than just a book. He does have enough of a magical aura to himself that this paladin, when immediately seeing the corpse and deciding to spread a sort of detect magic spell over the area, sees that there's nothing going on except for this book. And so he picks it up carefully and takes it with him. Finds remains. Detect magic. Safe. Book allows itself to be retrieved. And so Baratrum Suluna finds his way out of the woods and rejoins his party. Describe their religious order goals. I already did that. They are driven to fight the undead in all of the forms, fighting necromancers and all of that. How did you help them complete an epic quest? So, Soluna finds his party and goes on many adventures. He is a paladin, which does give him some magical abilities, but he's not. He's a very devout paladin, and so he is mostly accustomed to reading his own holy book. So he doesn't recognize any of the symbols on this. He does recognize that there's some sort of mystic symbol here, and the and he hides the book away from the wizard in the party at the tome's insistence. When he finds the book, he knows that he needs to keep it private, which is unfortunate for him because he would be able to get a lot of guidance from the wizard in the party, who would be able to decipher some of the runes. But over time, and like so often happens with paladins, they become a little bit less devout over time. They start to see the weird blending of black and white that turns into gray that is the actual existence, and rather than the binary that we are often told is how we're supposed to see the world through a religious lens. And so over time, he puts down his holy text, which we'll call the passage of Soluna, the passages of Soluna. And flips through the pages of our tome. And the tome senses that Bertram Soluna has no ulterior motive. Traveling with him, the first time he picks up the book, of course, he flips through and sees nothing but blank pages, because the Lord of Knowledge has that ability to hide its own contents from anyone it doesn't trust. And at first, he's hitching a ride with this paladin, just trying to get out of the woods. And Bertram's able to take some of the leaves and moss out of the binding and get most of the bugs out. But traveling with this paladin, kept secret and safe, the tome begins to trust the paladin and begins to think of him as someone he could form an alliance with. And so, at one point, lost in a dungeon, separated from his party once again, and just waiting for everyone to come back. He's in a corner, but he's safe, and he turns to the tome instead of to the passages of Soluna, and the tome reveals to him the recipe for the most recent recipe in its pages, which was devised by its previous owner, which is a potion of intelligence. And throughout this dungeon adventure had actually been compelling the paladin to pick up any spare ingredients that might be of use. And the wonderful thing about this potion of intelligence is it used mostly common items combined with existing magical potions. It was created by someone who did not really know how to make potions very well, but had managed to figure out this one recipe before his death. And so Bertram Soluna does take this potion of intelligence and gains permanent stat increase. And with this intelligence boost, he is able to start deciphering the more complicated recipes as the tome reveals them. He even is able to trace some of the letters that are remaining on the cover that have been worn down over time. He sees an L in the middle of sorts, or perhaps a D, but he thinks it's an L. And he sees what looks to be an LU and R. So he, over time, has learned in his mind that this book is known as the Lur Loed. And this paladin starts devoting more and more of his attentions to the book. He sees in it potions of healing, potions of poison, potions of sleep, and an amazing device which allows a potion of sleep to be aerosolized and cover a great area. And it is through his trust in the tome, rather than the trust in his god, that he is able to escape this dungeon, not only with his life, but with a powerful chalice previously owned by a lich lord. This chalice sparkles with gold and gems, and is infused with magical properties which allow it to create elemental energies. There's a gem on each side of the chalice, corresponding to various elemental powers. The Lich Lord used this chalice to command elementals, fire elementals, water elementals, ice, electricity, wind. But our former paladin, now turning more and more alchemist, Bertram, who actually takes the name that he believes is that of the tome. Bertram Lurloed. And with this epic quest complete, he retires from the party. He retires to a home that he can build with all of the great riches, but he keeps the chalice and he learns everything he can about it, and he uses this knowledge along with his new god, the Lurloed, to create new recipes. Choose one from tables 29 or 30. Victories in Valor. Yeah, I think so. Oh, well, the mythical beast or immortal guardian stood watch over an ancient treasure. With strength or trickery and your help, your keeper overcame them. What were they protecting, and why did your keeper need it so badly? Well, this was the Lich Lord and the Chalice. And the keeper, Bertram, needed the Chalice to unfreeze his hometown. A white dragon, an ancient white dragon, had frozen his town, and the chalice was the only thing that he knew of that could command the fire in such a way as to melt it out. White dragon froze his home. Needed chalice to command the fire to melt everyone's driveways. Answer an artifact question. Your secrets were once shared with someone your keepers are now. How do you come to think of your keepers? As students, ingrates, or something else? Come to think of keepers as legs and acolytes. The tome, over time, is learning that the most useful thing his keepers can give him is movement and knowledge. And so the tome will pick his keepers at this point mostly for utility, but hopefully, if he finds a kindred spirit, able to convince their keeper to shed whatever life they had before, devote themselves to learning the knowledge in the tome, if they are deemed worthy, and hopefully adding to it. The tome doesn't feel complete. It has pages that are not yet written. And so, over time, as Bertram ages and becomes better, and with the power of the chalice at his side, he is able to add new potion recipes, elemental potions. Potions that can both imbue with resistance to various elemental energies and potions that can infuse with elemental energies. But I think it's safe to say that these are the kinds of experimentations that can often end poorly. And so, in one of these experiments to create new potions, Bertram is torn apart by a tornado of his own creation. Air incomplete. his house is just blown away. The amount of time you must wait until your next keeper arrives. I think it's merely a month. Sorting through the various wreckage of the home. So we'll switch over to Christopher Michael Roberts' amazing Artifact soundtrack, and I will pause and think about what's been happening. And that is the end of that era. The time of glory has come to a close, and so next week I'll be picking up with the Ruination, and things should be fascinating. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you're enjoying these little videos, and I hope you're well. I hope to see you soon.